It's March 24th, and this is the noon flood, so I've been dancing around with these settings and trying to get it to just the right place between, draining and flooding. And right now we've got a little trickle coming out of the drain. I'm hoping to get just a little bit further down on the level before it comes back out full steam. So we'll just keep an eye on that for a minute. In the meantime, let's have a look at the plants, see how they're doing. They're looking pretty good. We're starting to get some clumping up on the tops, which is good. Everybody seems to be getting to where they're clumping. Some of them, wow, that was almost all the way up to the trellises. Look here, this one seems to be a bit of a stretchy one. It's going to win the race to the trellis, that's for sure. But it's right in the right spot. It's going to go right through that square, so that's perfect. And the only one that really hasn't developed a lot of hairs yet is this one, but there is indeed no doubt that this is a female. It's just a late bloomer, let's just call it that. Conditions aren't bad. The humidity's getting a little bit high, but even 60% is okay. I mean, as long as it doesn't start getting up into the 70, 80, 90%, that's when you get some issues, especially with water, condensation, etc. 76 is an okay temperature too. I can live with mid-70s. It's all good. We're still flooding here. It's mostly getting the level in relation to the pump, because you don't want it to go all the way down to the pump, because then the pump starts sucking air, and that's just not good for the pump. I mean that in a literal way. It actually starts to suck air. So we'll just see how we go here. I'll let you know when it starts really coming out. And there it goes. So just in time, it's right at the perfect level. I mean, it didn't get down below the pump. It's still right about the level of the air stones. So that's a good spot right there. I'm happy with that. I'll just leave that alone and let it rip. Water condition seems to be holding steady. We've got a nice AC. 5.8 pH is a pretty good number. 68 degrees isn't bad either for water temperature. It's better than 66 where it's been at times at 66. And that 66 is a little cool side. 68 is really good. Just adjusting the flow rate just a smidge. Just kind of slow it down a little teeny bit so that we don't get so close to the bottom of the res and exposing that pump to sucking the air. So we just marginally decrease the flow rate, and we'll see how that works out on the next flood. In the meantime, I think this one's just about over. So I think we're good to go. Yep. And there you go. So that's it. It just turned off. That seems perfect. That's just perfect right there, and that's where we're going to leave it. And that's part of what flood and drain is tweaking, and you got to tweak until you get it all set right. And once you get it all set right, you can just leave it alone, and it'll be the same every time. So I think we just about are there. We'll keep an eye on things, but yeah, I think we're pretty good. We've already got some reaching up to the trellis. Some others still have a ways to go. But in the meantime, I'm really happy with the way things are going right now. There's something else I'm going to do as the res finishes. As you can hear, it's just about finished. Some of these lower leaves, like down here, these really don't need to be there. So I'm going to take a few of those off. Just down here. These are what they call sucker leaves, and we take them off as needed. And I think there's just a few that need to go right now. So I'll get that done, and then that'll be it for today. So I believe the table is completely drained itself again, and you can see how far we are from the top. And this is where we started out. This is where the water level was up here. So now we're down there. That represents two things. Number one, there's some evaporation that goes on. And number two, these plants suck up water. So a little from column A, a little from column B. But at some point when the water level gets a little bit lower, we'll probably come in and we'll top it up again. Just with some fresh water and then re-pH and do all of those things. We won't add any nutrients at that point, but we'll just let that go for maybe a few more days, and then we will completely change the res. Again, we'll take all the water out, put in all new water, and when we do that, that's probably when we'll start to add some of the other ingredients, in particular the boost, and then later on the PK1314, and may throw in a little bit of isotonic in there too, just to keep the roots happy. One last thing before we do though is all these leaves that I took off, I'm not going to leave in the room, because these can be a breeding ground of things you don't like. So just get the old leaves out of the room. Good morning, it's Thursday, March 26th, and here's our update. I believe we're about to have a flood, so that's going to happen here any minute. We'll see how that goes. As far as the plants go, look there. We've got some that are actually coming up through the trellis. That's kind of cool. Plants are growing like gangbusters. Buds are forming nicely. Yeah, got some nice clumping going on there. They probably will, get halfway between where they are now and the light. That's probably, hopefully, where they'll stop and start to batten up. In the meantime, everybody looks pretty darn good. Can't complain about any of that. I might take a few leaves off today. It's always good to, take some of these sucker leaves off and a little more light down. Like some of these ones way down here don't need to be there. They're pretty much just sucking juice away from the flower, and I want the flower to get all the juice. So let's see how the conditions are. We got 1900 ppm. That's we're running it pretty high now because they're in full flower mode. So we're trying to give them lots and lots of food. So the food is at a good level. 5.8 is still an acceptable pH level, so I don't think I have to do anything there. And 68 is not a bad temperature for the water. So it's not a big shock to the root zone, which is what you really want. Looking at the soil itself, you can see it's looking pretty moist. Some are kind of dry a little, but that's kind of what you want too. Oh, and there it goes. That's the flood. We're just in time for that. Let's see how it goes. I've been tweaking stuff, so like I'm trying to turn down the flow so that it doesn't get up too high before the drain starts flowing. And I've gotten the drain pulled down a little further, so I'm thinking that the water depth when the tray is completely full is probably about an inch or two, maybe 2 inches. And when it gets to like 2 and it starts to approach 3, that's when the drain kicks in, and everything kind of evens out at that point. So what we don't want is for the water level to get down below where the pump is sucking in, because you don't want that pump to suck air, you want it to suck water. So we're getting that balance down. I think I've got it down. I'm just here to make sure that I do. So let's see where it goes. So in the meantime, let's find some leaves that can go. That one can go. I think that one can go. These can definitely go here. That one. And that one. Let's see what else we got here. Over here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and take these. And yeah, I'm going to take those. And we'll come around the other side. Yeah, these can go. Sucker leaves, that's what they call them. And they call them sucker leaves for a reason. Because they're sucking all the juice right from the bud. And I think I got maybe one more to go here. And that should be it for leaf pruning for today, I believe. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave everybody else where they are right now. And kind of let it go from here. Yeah, really liking the development. Everything's looking great. So look, getting warmer in here as we go, right? 77 degrees. And the humidity is going up too a little bit, 60%. So I'm okay. 50% is absolutely optimum for humidity. So 60 is acceptable, 40 is acceptable. What you don't want is it to start getting up into like 70, 80, 90% humidity. That is not good conditions. So we'll watch that and make sure that as time goes by, the humidity does not increase. 77 degrees is fine as far as temperature goes. I don't think it's going to get any warmer than that as we go, and that's just fine. So anywhere between 72 to 77 is pretty much optimal. Something else I'm doing is I'm going to collect up all these leaves, and I'm not going to be leaving leaves down here like I had been kind of stuffing leaves down in one of these bags down here and leaving them in there, and I think I'm going to stop doing that. Old leaves are also a draw for things that you might not want, so it's just good. Again, it's all about housekeeping, and housekeeping means not leaving your leaves in the room to be a draw for who knows what, powdery mildew or any other kind of diseases. So yeah, off the leaves go. Everybody's getting out of here, and there you go. There's a pile of leaves. I think probably sometime in the next week or so, I'm gonna turn this dial up to 100% and really get kicked in. So you can see the flood has got it down to the top of the air stones. That's fine. I'm not worried about air stones. The water is coming out, but it's not coming out full blast, and it needs to be starting to go full blast anytime. As you can see, we're now getting down where it's at the top of the pump. Now we probably do need to top up the res because as it goes, it does go down in the end. The plants are sucking up water. Some of it is gassing off into humidity, and there goes the drain. So now the drain is going fully. That'll prevent that from getting down below the level for the pump where it starts sucking air. So that's perfect timing right there. But after everything's all done, I will check the level of water on the res, and I may go ahead and top it up again. It's okay to do that once. You can top it up one time and then maybe let it go for a few more days, and then at some point you completely empty the res and refill it again with all new fresh stuff. So we'll play that by ear, and I'll keep you updated. And the pump just clicked off, so that's good timing there. Just in time, actually. You can see the top of the pump, but not down too far. The rest of the water will drain out, and when it's all drained and everything, I'll check the level again and to see how that goes. May top it up today, may top it up tomorrow. Haven't decided yet. I'll get back to you. Well, from the sounds of things, I think we're just about finished draining here. And you can see the level has gone from, we did have it filtered up to the top. So that's how much water has actually been lost into the atmosphere and sucked up by the plants. So I think because it's getting down so close to the pump, it's probably not a bad idea to go ahead and top it up maybe today. I'm just consulting with Deb about that, and I'll get the final answer here in just a few minutes. And I believe that is it for the draining process. And you can see over here, if you look at the markings, we're down to the 80 liter mark. 100 liters is full, so we're down a full 20 liters. So I'm just gonna go talk to Deb and see if maybe that's a good time to top up. Give you a record of everything that's going on here on the calendar. So today is the 26th. And we're going to top up the res. So, top up res. And that just lets us know where we are. Sometime probably close to the beginning of April, we'll completely change the res. And I think probably sometime in this week. Okay, let's get the hose, drag it out, stretch her out, top up the res. Okay, hose is in place, consulted with Deb. I'll top it back up to 100 liters. We won't be adding anything else but a little bit of pH down to make sure that the pH is at the right level. Other than that, everything stays just the way it is. We're just adding more water. Okay, so let's get the water turned on here. Maybe just throw a little bit of hot on there as well, just to make it kind of lukewarm. Not hot by any means, and certainly not freezing cold. It will come to temperature, hopefully before the next flood. But it doesn't hurt to just give it a little bit of warm, just to keep it, you know, about the right temperature. We'll see on the meter how it rates as far as temperature goes. Okay, so what are we doing? Yeah, we got, you know, a nice steady slow flow, and that's probably best. You know, you don't have to, you know, run like crazy to go turn it off when it gets close to the top. We'll just see what kind of effect we're having here. You see the temperature's 69 right now, so that water may be a little warmer. That's coming out of the hose right now. I'm expecting the pH to start to bump up here at any minute, so let's just give it a second here. Okay, we'll come back and check that in a minute. The ppms are dropping too, because what that's doing is it's thinning out the amount of nutrient that's in there. So that 1830's just dropped to 1820, and you can see how it dilutes in 1810. So you can see it's diluting the amount of nutrient that's actually in the reservoir right now. I'm still there. It goes to pH, so the pH starts to rise. So after everything's done, I expect that pH is probably going to be over 6 or 6 or more. And what all I'll have to do today is add a little pH down to get it back to 5.7 or so. See, the ppms have dropped significantly. Still waiting on the pH, but yeah, the parts per million is dropping. Okay, it appears everything is pretty much, well, right when I say that, it goes down to 1600, but it looks like everything's pretty much stabilized. I don't expect that's going to go down much further, and that pH needs to be adjusted. 69 degrees on the temperature is not a bad temperature, so hopefully it stays around that neighborhood. That'd be good. So this is the pH down right here. I'm just going to use this pipette to add the pH, because I can do it in a very measured way. So right now there's that much pH down, and I can just add a little bit at a time, mix, and then add a little more, and just keep doing that till I get to around 5.7. So let's get about half of it in there, see where we're at. Okay, so that's got it to 5.8. Gonna add a little more. Okay, so that was about 3/4 of the pipette of pH down that I put in there, and I'm just gonna give her a stir now and see what happens. Where the pH goes. Yeah, down to 5.7, just about there. Oh, 5.6, 5.5. Well, there you go. I mean, you add half a pipette, you only get a couple of points. You add the other half of the pipette, and you get several points. But that's okay, because as you've seen previously, we have something else, which is also a good thing to put in the res at any given time, and that's this pH up, which is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide kills anything microbial, so if there's anything microbial going in there that shouldn't be, this is going to actually help it. So it's actually good that I went a little low on the pH. I can add a little bit of this, and that actually will help cleanse the water in the res a bit. A little bit more pH up. See if we can get it to go to 5.7. Yeah, look like I'm gonna maybe take just a little dash more. I'll get just a little bit more. Put it in there. Another stir. Just a little at a time, and that's the way to get, precision. You start just kind of soften it to it. You can overdo it, and as you saw, it went further down than I wanted it to with the pH down. So there you go. It's really easy to overdo it. Okay, just add a little bit more, and there we go. 5.7, just exactly where I want it to be. And the temperature 69 degrees, 68, good temperature. So we're all set for the next flood, which will be, this is the noon flood. So the next flood and the last flood of the day is at 4 p.m. I don't think I'm going to have to come down and check on that, because I think everything's going to be just fine. So I'll just relax and download a few movies to watch tonight. Otherwise, wow, things are growing great. And that is it for March 26th. It's March 31st, and it's time to change the res. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, changing that reservoir, putting all new fresh water in. We're going to drain it out through the window, just like we told you we would. Looking at the conditions right now, yeah, everything seems pretty good. I've been leaving the door open a crack just so it doesn't get too warm in here. And it really doesn't. 74 and 44% humidity. Again, perfect conditions. All of these numbers look good. The reservoir has been here for like at least a week, so you want to change your reservoir at least once a week. And you can see that there's, you know, kind of crud all over the place that needs to be wiped up, and everything needs to be cleaned out. So you don't want anything nasty getting in there. And I'm especially not liking the white stuff, although it's probably just salts from the nutrient, right? You just gotta clean stuff, keep it clean. So just before we do that, let's have a look at how the plants are doing. Actually, I think they're doing quite well. Most of them have gone above the trellis, which is good. So that trellis is gonna, you know, hold them when they get big and heavy. And speaking of big and heavy, we've had some pretty good bud development since the last time I took any footage. So yeah, it's things are looking awesome actually. Let's see what else we got from the other side. Okay. Yep. And I do think that this one in particular might make it up into the trellis. This one's got, I say, a 50-50 chance. I think this one will make the trellis. That one will make the trellis. So there's 3 that haven't quite got there yet. At least 2 of those 3 will probably make it. And if this one doesn't, it's okay. I'll find other ways of securing it, you know, should it get so big and fat and heavy, which is a heck of a problem. But, you know, it will be secured. And there goes the flood. So we are now flooding. And like I said, after this flood is done and the drain is completely drained, we will proceed with changing the res. Yeah, just kind of keeping an eye on things. See how the settings are going. I think I got it just about right on as far as the settings go. The amount of time it takes for a flood, and again, with the biggest concern being the pump that you don't want sucking the air. And you can see it's already flowing out pretty quick. And it is doing a decent job of flooding the table. Everybody's getting water. So we'll just give it a couple minutes and see when she shuts off. And in the meantime, this is the team for today. It's all new team now. So we've still got the COCO A, COCO B. We're going to be adding some boost, some CANNA, and a little bit of rhizotonic. So, you know, we're getting a lot more nutrients into the reservoir with a broader spectrum of plant needs. You know, CANNA for roots, rhizotonics also for roots. Boost is a bloom fortifier, so that's going to actually make the buds get fatter and heavier. And of course, you know about the base nutrient, COCO A and B. So looking at the calendar, you'll see I topped up the res on the 26th. Today is the 31st, so that's pretty much it. We're good to go. So one thing I'm going to have to do today is get access to this window over here, and you can see it's right there. So I have to get up, unlock it if I can. There we go, and now it's unlocked. So the flood is all finished. I'm just going to wait for whatever's left to drain out. As you can see, this thing has quit, but water still drains down through the pump and into the reservoir. So you can see how much the reservoir's gone down. I mean, it might get back up to this line by the time everything's drained out of the res. And of course, I'm not going to change the res or do anything with the res until that last drop of water comes out of the table. Now, what I'll be doing is I'll just be taking the plug out of the timer, which is currently running the pump. And I'll just simply plug that straight into here, and that'll make the pump run continuously. And while I do that, I will be switching this off, this on, and then I will be extending this hose out the window with this petcock turned on. And then everything will drain right out that window. So one way to find out if the pump is still draining water is to take it out and see what happens. So it appears that it has also finished draining water. So any water that doesn't go down the siphon valve goes down back down through the pump. I'm going to have to position that pump way over at the edge there. I'm going to try to tip the reservoir towards that way so that we get as much out but via the pump as we can. And then after that, I've got this thing here and I'll be able to get in there and scoop out anything that's left and drop that into the cooler. So I actually printed off a copy of the CANNA COCO feed chart. It's just easier than trying to look it up on my phone and then go back to the camera and then go back to the phone. This is available all the time, so it's a much better way to do it. And we are here in generative period 1, I'm going to call it that. And you can see we've got the COCO at 30 to 40 milliliters per liter, 5 milliliters per liter of isotonic, 25 milliliters per liter of cannazyme, and 20 to 40 milliliters per liter of boost. And when the ones that have a range, what I like to do is I'll just go right in the middle. So I'll use 35 here, and I will use 30. I'll use 30 for the CANNA boost. So first order of business to get that thing out the window is to get it ready to go. So all I've got to do is crack that window and slip it out there. So that'll be probably the last thing I do. In the meantime, I'm going to prep the res. That's going to entail taking out plug out of the timer, plugging it into the socket, and then let her rip. So first things first. First, shut that off. Second, turn that on. And third, before I put it out the window, is to turn this one on. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. Okay, so it is now on too. Everything's ready to go. Just got to stick that out the window and plug the pump in. Okay, so the hose is out the window, ready for draining. Just slipped it right through that little crack right there. Last check, turn it off, turn it on, everything's good to go. Let's unplug that pump and get it into that socket. I've got is this cooler that when it gets down near the bottom, I'm going to lift this side of the cooler up. I'm going to slip this down underneath it so that it stays tilted towards that direction where the pump is. Okay, and the pump should be pumping. So let's just have a look outside and see what's going on. Yep. So there goes the water. And this is where you gotta pay close attention. So I'm just watching the water level go down. When it gets down far enough, like I say, I'll tip it towards the pump. So I've turned off the air stones. They don't need to be on while we're doing this, and they give them a little clean. You can see stuff on the top of those. I'm also going to have to do something with these probes. Probably get a little water in here and just drop those probes into this cup. And that'll keep them hydrated while we empty the res. And the probes are in water and remaining hydrated, which is a good thing. Okay, we're getting real close to pump level, so let's see if we can tilt this thing up a bit. So the idea here is to get as much out through the pump as we can. When that thing starts sucking air, I will unplug it because it's not good for it to suck air. Right now it's still pumping water. Everything seems to be going well. Seeing more and more bottom and less water. So let's see how far down we can get it, and then we will get the rest with this right here, which we no longer use. I don't know. We haven't had bagged milk for a long time. No, not you. You can just see how fast the water is advancing and moving down towards the low end. Slowly but surely. The pump's getting real close to turn off time. Let's just, yeah. So now you hear it starting to suck air. Off it goes. Now comes the fun part, figuring out how I'm going to use this to get out as much of that water as I can and then dump it into that cooler. Boy, this little cooler sure has come in handy. I mean, that was originally the reservoir when we first started out, if you remember. But now it's going to be a receptacle for old water. And let's see how our scoop works. We'll just take it out a little tip. And look at that. You can see, you know, like that's definitely, it's time for a change and a clean. So let's get out as much as we can here. And I'll just continue doing this until it's all gone. And if there's any residual left, I'll probably use a wad of paper towels to suck up any remaining residuals that are left in there after I'm done. But in the meantime, this is the only way to go. And there you go. I mean, that just shows you how much crud gets into the reservoir. You know, a lot of that is because the first few floods dragged down a lot of COCO with them, and that's probably finished now. There probably isn't a lot of COCO being dragged down. So I expect that the next reservoir will stay cleaner longer. At least that's what I'm hoping. In the meantime, it's time to get lots of paper towels and anything else we might need to give this a good clean. Yeah, so we've got a little water on the floor. Obviously that's got to be cleaned up. And this is the bigger cleanup job, and it's a mess right now. So I've got 4 roll of paper towels here, and I'm good to go. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get a little of this residual salt off the hose and give it a good wipe. Yeah, so I wiped off the hose, and you can see how much residual nutrient and COCO and whatnot got just on the drain there. Yeah, so that's pretty nasty, I would say. Yeah, initial wipe down, lots of crud. And we got a little ways to go yet. Okay, screen is back in, and window is closed and locked. And I felt a little bit of water up there on the top. That's probably condensation. It is, and I'm wiping that up right now with a paper towel. Yeah, that's how much condensation there was on top of the window. So there you go. Now I gotta figure out what to do with this. I don't think I'm gonna flush it down the toilet. It's not going down the shower drain. I think the only thing to do is to take it out to the sliding glass door and just kind of dump it outside onto the ground, I suppose. Okay, so something we have to remember to do, I shut that valve off. So now again, I'm gonna shut this one off, and I'm gonna position this one back where it was before, which was, I'd say, right about there. Right about there, I think is about where that was. So everything seems to be back to where it was. Gave the stones cleaning. Reservoir is reasonably clean. Get a little more crud out of there. But I think we're ready to fill the res again. The air stones are positioned. I think that's a pretty good spot right where those 2 corners are there. Kind of distributes it out evenly. Make sure there's good spread of aeration throughout the reservoir. Pump's in a good location. It's all set. Let's go get the hose and fill this puppy up. I just want you to get the right name on this filter. This filters out everything, including arsenic, and we just happen to have arsenic in our water, so that's a really good thing. And we filter it out with other filters, you know, for drinking water, but it's fine for, you know, flushing toilets and having showers and whatnot, as long as you don't drink it. So this will be going in arsenic free. And we have water. Shouldn't take it too long. Just the temperature. Just turn on the warm water just a tad too. It's still coming out pretty cold. I might go ahead and turn up the hot water just a touch. So I got the temperature of the water up to kind of lukewarm. It's comfortable on your hand. Doesn't feel too cold. Doesn't feel too warm. It's already got a bit of cold water in there. So the fact that it's a little on the warmer side of cold, that's okay, because by the time this thing's full, we'll have the probes back in the water. Right now they're sitting in that cup, and it's funny, I put them in that cup. I scooped some water out of the res, and then I put those in the cup just to keep them hydrated. And I thought, oh, why are the readings staying the same? And then I went, oh, no, it was res water. So they're sitting in res water right now, and that's why they're still registering about the same. But that's all going to change when I put them back into this water. So we'll just wait around for a few minutes, get this thing filled up, and then start with the nutrients. Okay, so now the probes are actually in this water that's coming out of there, and guess what? Yeah, everything changes, right? It's coming right out of the tap. the fact that it's at 130, I've been talking about this a lot, but the water that comes right out of the tap is around 780 parts per million right out of the tap. And that filter brings it down to 130. And you want it to get as close to zero as possible. I mean, 130 is still a little bit, but it's nothing. I mean, it's really not enough to even worry about. So far, the water temperature is at 65. I'm feeling that might go up a bit as more water comes in, because that water kind of feels lukewarm to the touch. So I think it might be a little warmer than that. And pH, of course, the pH is up because it's water right out of the tap, and we'll be taking care of that too. Okay. Oh yeah, so now I can feel that's quite a bit warmer. It's not hot by any means, it's just comfortable, like if you were going to dive into a swimming pool or something. It's a temperature for a swimming pool. And we should see that temperature start to rise a little bit as more of this warmer water gets in there. So we'll keep you posted on that. There you go, it's now up to 66. And now up to 67. If it starts getting up to the upper 60s, I'll turn the hot water down again. Yeah, so it just went up to 68, so I'm just going to go turn the warm water down. So I turned off the hot and I turned down the cold just a little bit because we're getting very close to the end. 69 degrees is about as hot as I want the water to be. It's a good number. I mean, even 70 would be okay. But for right now, that's a good number. And those other numbers will be changing shortly. And you see we're just about up to the 100-liter mark, and that's what all the measurements of the nutrients are going to be based on, is 100 liters. And the water's been turned off, so you see it's just shy of the 100-liter mark, but it kind of tilts backwards. So you can see it's more full at the back than it is at the front. It's not quite level, just because I got it sitting up on pieces of wood and whatnot to compensate for this bar that runs under it, and I don't want it sitting on the bar. So it makes it tilt backwards, and that's okay, because if I tilted it forward, I know it would be right at that 100-liter mark. So that is what we will base all of our nutrients on. And we've got the water at 69 degrees, which is just fine. It'll probably drop by tomorrow down to 67, 68, and that's all good. So here's the team for today. We got the boost. And so we're in period. So January period 1. We've got CANNA Boost 20 to 40, CANNA Zyme 25, isotonic 5 milliliters per liter, and of course the COCO 30 to 40. I'm going to go with 35. So our cup measuring stops at 350, but I think if we look at the type of ml and the word cups right there, that's not far off from the 400, because 400 is what I want to use. So it'll be just above that 350 line, and 1 cup of A first, 1 cup of B second. Everything else is in lower doses, so all of these graduation marks will be very applicable. And just for prosperity, these are the numbers before I add anything. So let's see what it does to the ppms and the pH. Temperature right down is going to change, but those ppms are going to go up, and that pH is going to go down. So the first thing I did was really I shook these up really good, both of them. You need to really shake them up good before you start using it. Okay, so I've got that measured out just about right. So in that goes. And here we go. And we'll just put it right in there. Give it a little dip, clean it out. And get down there ready for the next one, which is the B. And there's our measure for the B, which appears to be just about the same as the A. And in goes the B. So that's equal amounts of A and B. You're going to watch the TDS should start to rise. So mix. Once we get it all mixed down, we'll see that number change. It could entail turning that thing off and then back on again. Oh, wait, here we go. See this? Now we're getting numbers. See, the pH is down to 5.6. EC's getting up there too. 1600, 1680. Yeah, those are some pretty good numbers right there. pH 5.7. 1620. That's going to go up a little bit because I'm going to add boost and risotonic and CANNA. I don't think CANNA and risotonic has much effect, but the boost certainly will have an effect on the ppms. So consulting our chart, here's the boost and generative period. That's flour basically is what they mean. 20 to 40. So I'm going to go with the middle. So 30 milliliters per 10 liters, which would mean 300 milliliters in that cup. So not being able to find my pliers, which I put somewhere, who knows where. But anyway, I had to get creative as far as how I got this thing off, because this little yellow thing here is attached to that and you have to break it loose. So I was using the pliers to break it loose. So what do you do if you misplace your pliers? I'll tell you what you do. You get one of these and you break the seal and then it comes off. How about that? Okay, so there we go. 300 milliliters of boost in the cup and into the res. And you'll probably see that conductivity change again, and perhaps even the pH. So let's have a look at that. Give it a little stir. Stir, there we go. Turn it around. See what happens here. We see the pH is already down 5.5. I expect the ppms to go up. Yeah, you can see that going up. Stir it in. See where are we at? 1680, 70, 5.5 pH. Get a little more stirring. Get it all mixed in there really good. Okay. 1670 is where we're at right now, and we still have to put in some CANNA and risotonic. So CANNA, we're talking about 25 milliliters per 10, so that's 250 milliliters of CANNA. And according to the chart, when it comes to risotonic, which is right there, it's only 5 milliliters per 10 liters of water. So you're talking about 50 milliliters for 100 liter res. So 50 milliliters into the cup. So, because this is only 5 milliliters per liter, you'll see up here, we've got a little cup here and it's got measurements on it. So it's actually would be, I believe, about 2 of these would equal 50. So 2 of those. Well, the CANNA didn't have a lot of effect on the ppms, but it did bring the pH down a little bit. So at 5.3, you know that's too low. So we have our handy dandy pH up, which we will add a little at a time until we get that up to about 5.7 or so. Okay, so I'm going to actually use a pipette to add it just a little bit at a time. Maybe put in 2 squirts to start. See where that goes. Give that a stir and see what happens to the pH. There you go, it's starting to go up. Okay, so apparently it's going to take more than that. I'll put in maybe 3 or 4 pipettes and see what happens. We can see pH is going up. 5.6, if we can just get her to 5.7, we're all good to go. Yeah, well, maybe 1 more pipette. Let's see if that one pipette works. No. Not yet. And we are there. 5.7, 1740 ppm. That's pretty good. And 69 degrees is just fine. This is ready for the 4 o'clock flood. Okay, so the pump is on. It's pumping in nice oxygen into the water. I'm just going to tilt this a little over to where it was before. That's closed off, so that's all good. That's ready to go. Oh, the numbers look great. Yes, sir, we are good to go. So now we've got the appropriate flour mixture into the reservoir. That boost and all the other elements that we put in there are really going to start these fattening up. I keep talking about fattening up. That's what they're going to do. So there's a little less nitrogen, a little more phosphorus and potassium, and that's what they want in flower. So they're probably going to stop their upward bolt and kind of stop, hopefully not far from where they are. They might get up a little bit higher. I mean, we might have, you know, some bracts on the top that form, and that would be really nice to have, you know, some big fat buds like that. And I think we've got all the proper equipment, all the proper elements, and everything should be working together to produce nice fat buds. Something else I did yesterday, and this is another important thing I'll just point out, is I go around with the scissors periodically, and I just take off some of these excess leaves that just kind of suck from the plant. Again, we call them sucker leaves, and if it's a sucker leaf, take it off. I mean, don't take them all off by any means. You want to leave some in there to because they actually do the photosynthesis that converts everything into something that makes them grow. So just look up photosynthesis and you'll see what that is. Yeah, and other thing I did is now I've got this up to 100. So this is 100% on the light. All the flower nutrients in the water. Got the right ppms, right pH, and we are good to grow. Before I go, there's one thing I got to do, and that is, of course, we have our calendar and we got to record everything. So today's the 31st. I'm going to put on there res change. Yeah, so one last tip before we go. See the rhizotonic cannazyme is, I'm leaving it in the room, but I'm not leaving it in the room fully exposed to light. So what I've done is I've just covered it over with a couple of layers of paper towels, and that just keeps them in the dark, which they are better in the dark because light is not the friend of any nutrients. So because they're bottles that let light through,